Howdy, Huskies. How you doing? It's a lovely video from Mr. Naughton here today. We're going to walk you through some of our final review materials and make sure you guys are good to go. So this is all from Chapter 1. The notes are still up on the website if you need to go check those out. The videos are still on YouTube if you need a refresher, but this is also going to act that as well. So it's going to ask right here what we're going to do in number 1, and that's going to plug into 4, plug in 4 and plug in 3, and then subtract those values. So we have our x right here, and since there's only one x, we're only going to plug it into one spot. So first let's plug in our 4. So we're going to get 4 times 4 minus 1 divided by 2. So that's going to give me 16 minus 1 over 2, and that's going to be 15 halves. And I'm going to leave this as 15 halves for now. I'm not going to worry about making it a decimal or anything until I know what the 3 is going to do. All right, so let's plug in our 3. So it's going to be 4 times 3 minus 1 over 2, which is going to go ahead and be 12 minus 1 over 2, which is 11 over 2. So now I'm going to subtract them, and thankfully they have a common denominator. So 15 minus 11 is going to be 4 over 2, which is just going to give us our answer of 2. That's how we do number 1. Now this B one's a little bit saucier. We do have 2 variables, so I'm going to plug this 0 in here, and I'm going to plug it in here. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Let's worry about just the 0 first. So 2 to the 0 power minus 3 to the 0 minus 1. So anything to the 0 power is going to be 1, so that 2 to the 0 is going to just turn into 1. And this is going to be minus 3 to the 0 minus 1, which is going to be a negative 1. Now when it's a negative exponent, that's going to flip it to go to the denominator. So it's going to be 1 minus 1/3. And so 1 minus 1/3 is going to give us 2/3. All right, let's go ahead and try it here with the 1. Do the same thing. We're going to plug that in. And notice it's a plus, so I'm going to add those 2 values. So I'm going to get 2 to the 1 minus 3 to the 1 minus 1. So anything to the first power is going to stay itself, so that's just 2. And then 1 minus 1 is going to be 3 to the 0. And as we mentioned, anything to the 0 power is going to be 1. So 2 minus 1 is going to give me 1. Alrighty. So again, the operation between the 2 is adding. So we're going to add them together. So we're going to make 2/3 plus 3/3. We'll do a common denominator here for this 1. And we're going to get our answer of 5/3, and that is number 1. Or sorry, 1B, I should say. Alrighty. So for the first 2, you're just going to plug them on in and then do the operation. Alright, let's go to 2 and 2B. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, same sort of idea, except we're going to be plugging in an x minus 1 and then an x. So just, sorry. Should have had the phone off in the first place. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our first one, when we plug in this x minus 1, I'm going to plug in this whole thing to this x and to this x. So I'm going to have an x minus 1 squared minus an x minus 1 plus 3. So when I have a parenthesis squared, that's going to be x minus 1 times x minus 1. Then we're going to do a little FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to get x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then I have a minus x minus 1. And then a plus 3. So this is going to go ahead, and if I distribute that minus, I'm going to get x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus x plus 1 plus 3. Now, how did that happen? Well, I have a negative and a negative, so that's how it became a plus. So this is going to become x squared minus 3x, and then I have a plus 1 plus 1 plus 3, so it's a plus 5. Alrighty. So now, ladies and gentlemen, when I subtract just f of x, that's the original function. Nothing's changed. So I'm going to put this in parentheses, and then minus x squared minus x plus 3. Alrighty, so the same trick that we did up here, when I basically distributed this minus, I'm going to do the same thing here. So when I distribute that, I'm going to get x squared minus 3x plus 5, and then minus x squared plus x minus 3. Alrighty. Make sure that we did everything here correctly. Looks okay. And so when we combine all of our like terms, we're going to go ahead and get a 2x squared, a 4x. Sorry, I don't know where I got 2x squared from, because the x squareds are just going to cancel out here. And then when we go ahead and put these together, we're going to go ahead and get a 2x. So this will be a minus 2x. And then 5 minus 3 is going to be plus 2. So that's our final answer. I don't know where I got a negative 2x squared from. Glad I fixed that one before we got too far into it. Alrighty. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to B here. So this is going to be doing the same functions, but I got an x plus 1 and then an x plus 2. So we're going to go ahead and have I'm going to put that function up top so we can see it. That's an x squared minus x plus 3. Alrighty, so let's first plug in the x plus 1. So x plus 1 squared minus an x plus 1 plus 3. So this is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1, since it's x plus 1 squared. And then I might as well just distribute this minus here, minus x minus 1 plus 3. So we'll go first, outside, inside, last, FOIL, double distributive, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to get x squared plus a 2x plus 1. Then we have minus x. And then we might as well put these together right here and make this plus 2. So when all of our like terms together, I'm going to get x squared plus x plus 3. Hopefully we did everything there correctly. We will see when we get to the end and I check my answer. Alright, so now I'm going to plug in this x plus 2 here and here. And then we're going to add all of our like terms together at the end. So I'm going to get x plus 2 squared minus an x plus 2 plus 3. So we're going to get x plus 2 times x plus 2. Notice every time I have a parentheses squared, I'm writing the parentheses twice. So I could do first, outside, inside, last, and make this a lot easier. So this is going to be x squared, and then plus 4x plus 4 minus x plus 1. And so this will be x, when we combine like terms, x squared plus 3x, and then plus 5. And then, like I said, we're going to add these together. So we're going to add our like terms. So I have an x squared and an x. So that's a 2x squared. And then I have, we'll do this in orange here, an x and a 3x, so plus 4x. And then last but not least, we have a 3 and a 5, and that's going to be plus 8. Alrighty, so that's 2b. So in these two, we were still plugging stuff in. It's just in A and B, they were variables, and they weren't specifically just numbers like we saw in the ones. All right, another thing we did a lot in chapter 1, I'm going to erase this. If you need to go back, you can hit the rewind button. Here, we're going to go and find the domain. So for the domain, if we look at our square root parent graph, it's going to look like this. So it keeps on going as x approaches infinity on this right-hand side, because we can keep plugging in numbers here. But if we plugged in any numbers over here, it's an imaginary number, because you can't take the square root of a negative number. So what we're going to say is we're going to translate this graph. So we're going to set this part equal to 0 and see where we're at. So 3x minus 18, and it basically has to be greater than or equal to 0, because anything less than that is going to make it an imaginary number. So 3x is greater than 18. So x is greater than 6. So that is one way to write it, or we're pretty used to writing it in interval notation. So basically it would be from 6 to infinity. You can include 6, but you can never get to infinity. So there we go on number 3. Alrighty. On 4, it says you're going to put f of x into h, wherever we see the x. So f of x is this 3x minus 2. We're going to plug this in to x wherever we see an x. So rather than having an x plus, so normally the function would be an x, I'm going to make it a big parentheses for a reason, squared plus 2, that's h of x. Well, when I plug f in its place, we're going to have a 3x minus 2 right there. So now we're going to go ahead and write it twice. So 3x minus 2 times 3x minus 2, because it's a parenthesis squared. So we did a lot of FOIL in this first unit, clearly. So this is going to be 9x squared. Let's see, 6x is going to be minus 12x plus 4 plus 2. Combine our like terms together at the end there. So we get minus 12x plus 6. Alrighty, that is our answer for number 4. And then we have number 5 here somewhere. There we go. Alright, so this notation we might not have seen in a while, but this means inverse. Okay, so you're going to switch your y and your x and solve for y. So this m of x is going to be technically our y. So we're going to go ahead and have y is equal to 1 over 3x plus 2. So x is equal to 1 over 3y plus 2. So now you're going to solve. So I'm going to multiply both sides by this 3y plus 2, because then those will cancel. And before I go ahead and distribute that out, because that's just going to make life a lot more difficult, I'm going to divide everything here by x. So again, these x's will cancel out, and now we have 3y plus 2 is equal to 1 over x. So then I'm going to minus 2 over. So we get 3y is equal to 1 over x minus 2. And then we're going to divide by 3, but since some things are in fraction form kind of already, the easiest way for us to do this is just multiply by a 1/3. So I'm going to multiply this by a 1/3 and this side by a 1/3. So we're going to get y is equal to 1 over 3x minus 2/3. Alrighty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your answer key gives another answer. It's got y is equal to 1 minus 2x over 3x. These are called equivalent. They're the exact same thing. So either way you do this one, either answer version that you have would be correct. So it's totally a-okay to have one or the other. They're again called equivalent. Same equation, just written a little bit differently. So if you're wondering how we got this answer, totally okay. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is chapter 1 review. It was only one section in our book. It was 1.6 and like 1.9. So that's why this is such a short video. Chapter 2 will be a lot longer, but we'll see you on the next one.